This is Santa Ana. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, let's see here. Is that the back on the freeway? No. Telegraph Road? Yeah, back on Telegraph Road here, going northbound, Telegraph Road. I think we're paralleling the 5 freeway, so it'll be interesting to see if he gets back on the 5 freeway. CHP will definitely chase him if he gets on that freeway. LA Sheriff's Department was trying to get CHP to engage in this pursuit earlier, but then he got off the freeway. He was northbound on the 710 freeway. Speeds were like 70-ish miles per hour, not too terribly fast, but now coming back through the Commerce area along Telegraph Road, coming up on the Citadel, the big shopping center. Airspeed's 66 miles an hour, 60 approaching 70 miles per hour from SkyMap 7. Okay. Okay. There's that red light. We'll see if he stops there. Got a red light going northbound. He's near the Carl's Jr., and that's right near the Citadel at Camfield Avenue. Well, he's going to go right through that red light. See some pedestrians in the area. We're going to lead. There's Atlantic Boulevard and Telegraph. You see that? You see all those flashes going off? That is the red light violation cameras. So we know he went through the red light, and he's going to have a nice picture of him sent if this is actually his car. Right now he's wanted for reckless. It's uncertain if this is a stolen vehicle, but if it's his car, he's going to get a nice fat ticket in the mail from that red light violation. You saw those flashes going off. This is right at Ferguson Drive in Atlantic. It looks like he may be setting up for a U-turn. We're going to pull out to give you some perspective on where we're at, what he may be doing. There's the intersection in the city of Commerce. And back southbound on Telegraph Road, right near the Citadel. Like we're going to pass right by it here. The hashtag that's sitting out here, media pursuit, hashtag media pursuit, which is pretty interesting. It seems to be, there's been a lot of canceled pursuits. The idea right now, I can't tell. Can you tell me, Tim, if there's an LA County Sheriff's ship still overhead or no? No law enforcement? Okay, no law enforcement aircraft overhead, so it's just us. Okay, I don't lean it that much. Okay, small street here. This is Everington in Commerce, a very small street. That's a T intersection. Now he's on Astor. That's westbound on Astor. Speeds 35, 40 miles an hour. That's very fast for that small side street. He is going westbound, Tim. You know, okay, and there's a tight little turn there. We'll see what he does here. That is Couch Avenue. Okay, 30 out. We're about to go live on our ABC7 newscast at 11 p.m., so it may have a little bit of break in the stream coverage, but you can watch us there live on ABC. We're going to catch up a little bit. He's getting a little too far ahead. 65 miles per hour, very, very fast speeds. Here we come. Well, Mark and Michelle, this was a pursuit that started down in the sheriff's area, went northbound on the 710 and wanted for reckless driving. Now he is on Washington Boulevard, westbound at 55 miles per hour, Oh, almost missed that turn there, trying to get back on the freeway. But the Sheriff's Department were in pursuit. You can see someone in the passenger window waving something out there. LA Sheriff's Department was in pursuit. We're going to widen out here as he gets on the freeway to make sure we don't lose him here. Getting steep here as we get on what looks to be the southbound 710 freeway, then going back from the direction he came. Here's what happened. See, LA County Sheriffs were in pursuit, and they canceled the pursuit. They canceled the air unit. So right now it is. We maybe have another. No, this is, we're going back southbound on the 710. We've got him here. We're trying to kind of get the pilot back on the pursuit here. We lost him there. But push in, Ted, right in the middle, right in this area here. That is him right there. We're hitting the tail lights. There we go. We're getting back in this pursuit. Southbound the 710, number 3 lane. Now, it's interesting because the Sheriff's Department was trying to get the CHP to take this over and was unable to get them there in time. He got off the freeway in the Commerce area, did some turns through that area, but he is now southbound on the 710, and we're trying to catch up to him in that curve right there. But really picking up the speeds, pushing 90 miles an hour, Mark and Michelle here. Wanted originally for reckless. It's uncertain if he's wanted for anything else, but continuing to flee, even though law enforcement has canceled the pursuit, we're staying with him.
Okay, yeah, we got word of this a little bit before we went on the air at 11 o'clock, JT, probably about 10 minutes beforehand, that this pursuit was underway, this pursuit of a compact sedan that began, as JT mentioned, in East LA on the northbound 710, and here we are now back on the 710, but in the other direction, the southbound side, coming from the Commerce area, heading south now on the 710 freeway, and we have seen reckless driving. This person is perhaps wanted for possible DUI, we're hearing, as well as reckless driving. And we've seen some close calls. We've seen this person run at least one red light going at very high speeds on surface streets and now on the freeway as well.
Yeah, and what it sounds like, JT, is that there was some sort of a tactical mix-up here in communication or something. They just couldn't get the CHP in position in time, and so the sheriffs may have lost him. Is that what I'm hearing from you, or is there something else involved here?
Well, that's exactly what happened. They were in pursuit, and then they didn't lose the vehicle, but they're trying to get a CHP unit to take it over when he was on the 710. But before they could get that CHP unit on it, he got off the freeway. So, and then the incident commander for the Sheriff's Department, rightfully so, probably canceled the pursuit because he was driving really fast, and they did cancel the pursuit. But he didn't slow down. He kept going through side streets in Compton, through red lights. In fact, we did see him go through several of those photo lights and bright flashes. So if this car's registered to him, he's going to get a big fat ticket in the mail if it's his car and it's not a stolen. But we're continuing southbound on the 710 freeway, about 77 miles per hour, pushing 80 miles per hour. And interestingly enough, we saw it's a black and white police vehicle ahead of him that may have gotten off the freeway. So it'll be interesting to see the CHP picks up as we continue southbound, approaching Firestone, and the next exit coming up here in less than a quarter mile is Firestone. We'll see the CHP and we'll pick this thing up and chase this guy.
And we apologize for the spelling of reckless there. That's not correct. It's yeah, there we go. Fix that. So now we're just continuing to follow this. And are you seeing any units following him at this point? Anybody in the vicinity that's trying to pick this pursuit up, or are they really abandoning it?
Well, we're trying to listen for the Sheriff's Department. I don't believe we do not have any airborne law enforcement overhead right now. Now, they may be watching our newscast and maybe trying to relay that information to the California Highway Patrol. We'll widen out just a little bit. We don't want to go too far because it is a dark-colored four-door sedan. If we go too far, we'll probably lose him. He'll mix in with the rest. But you can see he's definitely driving faster than all the others. Let's push back into him and see how fast he's going here. In the number 3 lane, southbound, he's approaching Imperial Highway in less than a quarter of a mile. Speeds pushing 90, 95 miles per hour. That's a misprint there on Sky Map. We have sometimes it jumps ahead like that if we're not close enough to the pursuit. So we're going to try to catch up to the pursuit here and try to get that speed more accurate here. Southbound on the 710 freeway, approaching Imperial Highway. That Imperial Highway is what he's crossing right there. You can see the off-ramp there, but speeds 80, pushing 90 miles an hour. But the freeway is wide open right now. So again, this is not technically a pursuit, but the suspect wanted for reckless, possible DUI out here, going through the red lights and driving extremely fast and dangerously here and down in the south, coming up in the Linwood area.
Okay, and we are continuing to follow it from Air 7 HD, and we can see from Sky Map 7 now that just passing the Norwalk exit, continuing now on the southbound 710. This all began on the northbound 710 a little bit before 11 o'clock. And we believe this person, the driver, wanted for reckless driving, possible DUI we're hearing as well. And we know that there are at least 2 people in that car. JT, you saw a passenger in the front seat, right?
Yeah, we did. He was waving some sort of a plastic bag or something out the window. Uncertain if he's trying to throw something out of the vehicle. But looks like we are off at possibly Rosecrans, or we're on a transition road from the freeway. We'll pull out a little bit just to see where we're out here. It may be just a transition road back to another freeway, but we'll see what we do here. We are going to continue, and this is a transition road. It looks like, no, this may be the Rosecrans off-ramp, or maybe the, well, we'll see what he does here. But yeah, Michelle, definitely 2 people in the vehicle. It's been described as 2 men in the vehicle when they were originally chasing the suspect. But it looks like they are going to be off here at Rosecrans in the Rancho Dominguez area, right off the 710 freeway. We'll see what he does from here.
All right. Well, people living in this area should be apprised that at any point, as we have seen, of course, over the years in these pursuits, somebody may decide to bail out on foot, and they may be knocking on doors or trying to get into a place where they can hide. So you're advised to keep your doors and windows locked while this person tries to evade the police, who are at this point, or the sheriff's department, who are at this point not directly behind him. Not even sure if they are even indirectly behind him at this point. You saw that maneuver he just made to get through that intersection. So there is still the element of desperation, even though there are no blue lights behind him. There's nobody really directly chasing him at this point. Is there a sheriff's air unit above, JT?
There's not even a law enforcement aircraft here now, Mark, as the speeds continue 70-plus miles per hour eastbound on Rosecrans in the Paramount area. And that's what we've seen a lot with these lately. We've seen them go into tracking mode or surveillance mode. They're making that U-turn back westbound on Paramount. We've seen them go into tracking or surveillance or cancel altogether, and they don't change their driving behaviors. That's the whole idea of doing that, is to get the suspects to slow down and maybe drive more carefully. But that hasn't been the case here in a lot of the pursuits that we've seen lately, where the law enforcement has actually canceled or surveilled. They just keep going, and that's what's happening here. Still driving very quickly, 70 miles per hour plus here, westbound on Rosecrans, right over the 710 freeway.
Okay, and we're getting word that apparently that passenger who was seen waving was waving perhaps a balloon out the window for whatever reason. And we're working to key that up, and we'll take a closer look at it. But now we're coming to a stop here. So we're on East Rosecrans at South Gibson, it looks like, right, JT?
Yeah, Rosecrans right at Gibson here, just on the west side of the 710 freeway, continuing westbound. He stopped for that red light. We haven't seen that in quite a while, so maybe that's a good sign that he's actually trying to slow down a little bit, but continuing into the area, East Rancho Dominguez area from Paramount, now westbound on Rosecrans, 50 miles per hour. That's going to be Atlantic, so that's a major right there, Rosecrans and Atlantic, and he had the green there, so he went right through it.
All right, he's now apparently, he looks like he slowed down a little bit, or maybe I spoke too soon, I don't know, but he's on the surface streets now. He's stopping at red lights. Maybe this backing off of the pursuit is now finally having the desired effect. We know that we don't have a sun gun on our helicopter, so we're not shining anything on him. I don't think he even knows we're above him.
Yeah.
There are no sheriffs or law enforcement air units above. There are no ground units behind. So, in effect, we are the ones who are following this pursuit, what began as a pursuit, although the pursuit has now been terminated. The only offense that we know of with regard to these individuals, aside from the actual failure to yield, is that they were driving recklessly, and the driver might be under the influence of something that sparked the interest of officers. You just saw him run a red light there, so the violations continue. And the reckless driving continues. Again, looks like he's, running another red light. This is eastbound at Rosecrans, just past Long Beach Boulevard. So he's now in Compton and still driving recklessly. So I guess, as JT indicated, it's not having the desired effect of slowing him down. It's not having the desired effect of making him perhaps reconsider some of these decisions to put himself and other people in danger. The lucky thing for everybody involved here is that it's this time of night. There aren't a lot of other cars on the road, but there could still be a pretty nasty crash here. It's a question of whether the authorities will re-engage. Are you getting any indication that they're going to re-engage? They just ran another red light.
Ran another red light, Mark, and he is completely blacked out now as we're going to catch up to him as he continues here, and it's still westbound on Rosecrans. Now, this is the area where the pursuit started. It started with the LA County Sheriff's Department, the Compton Station area. This is where it started. It went eastbound from here and then northbound on the 710. So back into the area that they're familiar with. We often see that during pursuit. So very familiar with the Compton area, possibly maybe resides here, but there's another red light right through it, right underneath the Willowbrook crossing there for the train. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. Well, there's a sheriff's unit right there that just gave him his spotlight to say, hey, your lights are off. We'll see if he gets re-engaged in this, but more than likely if he does, since it did start in his area, that he may be told by the watch commander that the pursuit is 1022, or in other words, canceled. So here we are making a southbound turn on Oleander from Rosecrans, blacked out on a very dark, small residential side street. We'll see what he does here as he continues southbound. We're going to
JT, as we continue to watch this, sorry to interrupt, we just got this video in that we want to show that shows the passenger waving some kind of a balloon out the window. This was when the driver made an extreme turn to get back on the right, well, what he perceived to be the right side of the freeway going the direction that he wanted to go. What's happening live now, JT?
Yeah, it looks like he's getting ready to bail. It almost looked like he slowed down. We're on Cedar, right near Aranby Avenue in Compton. Looks like he was getting ready to bail. Maybe he'll circle up one more time. Now he's going to be on northbound on Aranby Avenue. It almost looked like he was going to bail there. Blacked out, circling up. So it's very possible that if he gets out and starts running, that the sheriff's department will at least see this and know where he's at. Maybe set up a containment, try to figure out where he goes. We'll try to keep a tight eye on him as he continues back northbound on Aranby through the area, coming up on Cherry Street. Now look at the speeds here. We've got up to about 35, 40. Now slowed down a little bit. So Compton Station is aware that he is in the area, but we do not see any units nor a Sheriff's Aero Bureau overhead watching this. Completely blacked out on northbound Aranby.
Very dangerous for anybody in this area, because it's just a blacked out car going down the street, running red lights, running stop signs, and anybody who was out walking, we did see some pedestrians out there about 30 seconds ago, is in danger from this. They may not see him coming. They may not register the car coming because it's blacked out and it's not behaving the way a driver is supposed to behave in terms of stopping at red lights and stop signs and things. So this is presenting a danger to the public even at this late hour. There are other vehicles out there. Not as many, as, of course, as you would have at a different time of day, but there are other people out there, and they're in danger. Again, if you're in this area of Stockwell and I guess Oleander, you should keep your doors locked and don't go outside, because this is passing through your neighborhood right now. You don't know what these two people are going to do.
Back with you, Gator, guys. We had a little bit of a radio comm issue there, but we see him now going eastbound on Stockwell, coming up on Willowbrook. There's the major right there, right through the red light, right over the tracks, continuing eastbound. Now in the Willowbrook area, coming out of the Compton area, now into Willowbrook.
It's gone through almost a half a dozen red lights that I've counted so far since we've been watching this, JT. So the reckless driving continues, and we are now into Willowbrook, after having been in Compton, and this continues now in the dark. No headlights on, this vehicle going at times at pretty high speeds for these narrow streets. Coming up on a vehicle that was stopped there, continuing on.
That was interesting. Wonder if he's in, you always wonder if they're in communication with somebody, trying to get some help from someone to
well, there we go.
It looks like they're maybe they are re-engaging. It looks like some air unit above just put their lights on him, and look at that, he started speeding up. He is now on Alameda Street near he's on and Oris. He does seem to be kind of circling this area a little bit. And now,
well, there it is. There's the bail. Looks like the passenger's out.
They got
two people out, so there was at least
out.
More than one person, 3 people on board.
And Oris, right?
Yeah, we're going to stay with the car, but 2 people bailed out. I'm not sure if you guys are hearing me. We are having some comm issues. 2 people bailed out there, so there was at least, it looked like they both bailed out of the back seat, so there may have been as many as 4, because I believe when we saw that balloon come out the window, that it came out the passenger side. So they bailed out. I didn't get the cross because I was looking at another piece of equipment here, but they bailed out here on Oris Street, and now we're circling back up. Now we did see LAPD Air Support Division overhead. That's what you saw, that night sun come on for just a split second. And uncertain if they are still over this thing or not, but they did depart. They came in, took a look at it, and then took off. So again, no airborne law enforcement overhead as we continue northbound on Willowbrook to Stockwell, and now we're going to be westbound on Stockwell from Willowbrook. So at least 2 of the suspects are out, and we believe there may be as many as 2 remaining in the vehicle here as we continue to stay with the vehicle. There are no units to set up a containment that we can see back there. No law enforcement aircraft to set up a containment or a perimeter around the 2 suspects that ran from the vehicle. So those guys are probably in the wind as we continue here on Stockwell, coming back through the Willowbrook area, approaching Ranby again. There the lights came on.
Well, thank goodness for that. At least the lights are on now. That does bring the danger level down just a bit. Making a left turn now as we continue on these surface streets in Willowbrook, very narrow streets. We saw just moments ago 2 passengers in the back seat bail out, but the driver continuing on, and we believe with that other passenger in the front seat still in the car with him. A passenger who was seen earlier waving some kind of a balloon out the window, very strange. And we think he or she is still in the car with the driver.
All right, this is a narrow residential street. It's Aranbe Avenue near Peach Street. This is kind of crossing back and forth between Compton and Willowbrook. Interestingly, this began with the Sheriff's Department. It's still in the Sheriff's Department's area.
Please work it out. I see you fighting it.
Okay, he's checking with his cameraman to get the shot here that we need, and he is now looks like he's going to get on Rosecrans here. So still in Compton. You're seeing the speed there on your screen. It was interesting. Once that night sun lit him up for just a quick second, he immediately started going faster, and that stopped. And then he's now continuing on Rosecrans now, westbound.
Picking up speeds.
Approaching 50 miles
40,
an hour.
50 miles per hour, yeah. Well, now hard on the brakes there as he approaches Wilmington. Well, right by a sheriff's deputy, he saw it turn off, and now he's going to be northbound on Wilmington from Cherry. So circling up in the area, we're now back in the Compton area, Mark and Michelle, as they continue to some black and white circling around in the area, not even in tracking or surveillance. This is just us watching him, and we'll see what happens next.
But you did see some patrol cars, so they aren't too far away.
Well, they're in the area, and it's uncertain if someone's relaying the information from what they're seeing on our air, on what we're putting out to you in SkyMap 7. But it's very uncertain if they are going to re-engage this pursuit. I could assume that if it gets very reckless, or he starts or hits another vehicle, a felony hit and run type of thing, that they may consider re-engaging. But right now, that doesn't seem the case as it continues northbound on Wilmington, coming up on 132nd Street. Speeds at about 45, 50 miles per hour. Not terribly fast, at least his lights are on. And we haven't seen a red light violation here in a second. But I think he knows lots of eyes are on him right now, and he's continuing that pursuit. And 2 of his buddies are probably in the wind right now. So we'll see what happens here as he continues coming up through the North Compton area, now back into Willowbrook.
Back into Willowbrook, still not being pursued either on the ground or, as far as you can tell, in the air. But it was a pursuit for a time, and then they may have started to re-engage and thought better of it. But this person has driven erratically, which is what spawned the pursuit to begin with. It was a report of reckless driving, possible DUI. We've seen nothing to indicate that those charges won't stick once this person is is apprehended. But as far as the active participation of law enforcement in this pursuit, that appears to have stopped. And what we're seeing now is this person still trying to evade someone who is not pursuing him.
Yep.
Now looking like he is on Willowbrook, or on Wilmington rather, in Willowbrook.
Okay.
He's coming up on the 105 freeway, guys. So as soon as he crosses over that 105, he's going to cross into LAPD. Well, if he continues there, he's going to cross into LAPD Southeast Division's area. And we'll see if there's any LAPD Southeast that are going to be willing to pick it up when he comes into the city of Los Angeles. Stopped here at 118th at Wilmington. and maybe trying to look around, see who's around. But I'm not even sure if that's a red light. We'll pull out to see if that's a red light or not. Got one person behind that is a red light. So he stopped at the shopping center here, just south of the 105, and we'll see what he does from here. If he goes into LAPD, we'll see if they actually try to light him up, and maybe they'll engage the pursuit.
Okay, we're going to see what happens here. This is interesting that he's chosen to stop for once, because for the last few, he has stopped for some red lights, but certainly there have been many that he's gone through, and this is the longest time we've seen the car come to a stop. We do have some video now to show you from about 5 minutes ago when those two passengers in the back seat jumped out. There you can see they bailed out, and then the car continued on.
Watch the.
Yeah, they took off running out of the back seat. It looks like there's still two people in the front, obviously the driver and then one passenger in the front seat of this four-door compact sedan. Now it looks like he's getting onto Imperial. This is
eastbound 105.
Eastbound 105. So heading east from the Willowbrook area. Probably not much in the way of traffic ahead of him, I would imagine, JT. It looks like it's got to be pretty clear sailing at this time of night.
Well, you know what? We thought he was on there. He's actually on Imperial. It looked like the freeway on-ramp for a second. We were a little tight. There's the freeway on-ramp. Now he's going to circle back onto the 105, eastbound. Let's see here. Well, that's going to be westbound 105. So we're going to go back westbound. Got a little narrow down there, so we're going to flip it around here. Excuse the dizzying spin, but we're going to continue westbound on the 105. Now it'll be interesting to see if the CHP actually gets on this and engages. Either they're hearing or watching our broadcast, or trying to get someone in this area to pick it up, because the CHP for sure will chase it.
Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens. All right, JT, so now we are on the westbound 105, and this suspect has been on, looks like two different freeways tonight, the 710 and the 105. Mostly on the surface streets, but now jumping back onto the freeway. The 105 heading east right now in the Willowbrook area. And what kind of speeds are we at here, JT?
Well, we're looking at about 90, 85, 90 plus miles per hour. Number 2 lane, not past one, not back down to 80. Passing traffic, but not terribly fast. We're going to try to catch up to a little bit if we can here as he continues on the westbound 105 through the Willowbrook area. Right on the border, LA County Sheriff's Department on the left and LAPD on the right, and he's in CHP's jurisdiction here as he's continuing, picking up 79, 80 miles per hour. Not terribly fast, so, he's in the carpool lane, so maybe he still has another person in there. But, yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
But he's continuing
I saw what you did there.
Okay, all right. Westbound on the 105. You almost have to laugh at these things. You want to get law enforcement on this thing and try to get this guy in custody before he hurts someone. It's not a laughing situation, but these go on and continue to go on, and right now he hasn't really stopped his erratic or reckless behavior here. A little bit slowing down every once in a while, but driving blacked out through red lights here as we come up continue on the westbound 105 freeway, right at the 110 freeway. He's in the carpool lane, so he'll see if he continues towards the LAX area or he shoots up the 110 freeway. I'm not sure if there's a transition road to the 110, but speeds pushing 90 miles an hour, right around 90 or so. We may lose him for a second underneath the overpasses, but it looks like he is committed to the westbound 105, right underneath the 110 freeway here.
All right, so if he continues this way, LAX is ahead of him. And that will play havoc, I believe, with our ability to cover this in terms of being above it from the air. We'll have to see, but we count on you to do what you can. Heading westbound again on the 105 freeway. This has been primarily in kind of the Compton, Willowbrook, Linwood area. I guess it started in East LA, right, Michelle, and then kind of went south and has stayed in that area, circled around in those neighborhoods for quite some time, and now he's heading into what appears to, heading toward LAX on the westbound 105 freeway. It's a pretty short drive, too, from the 110 freeway. It's probably about 4 miles or so, I think, if memory serves. So he's going to get there pretty quick. Where are we now? And the speeds are getting pretty high, too, JT. What are we looking at?
Pushing 100 now. He's coming through West Athens. We'll be transitioning through Hawthorne's area. The left side of the freeway is Hawthorne. The right side of the freeway is West Athens, LA Sheriff's area down here as well, as he makes his way towards the 405, probably if the speeds he's going right now, maybe another 5 minutes or maybe a little less before he'll be there. We'll see what he does. If he continues on the 405 or continues on the 105, it'll be interesting to see. But coming up Abeam Hawthorne Airport right now, as he's continuing coming up on Crenshaw in just less than a quarter mile here. Speeds ranging 98, 97 miles per hour according to SkyMap 7, but not really. There's a lot of people driving pretty fast out here, so we'll continue to see wide open freeway, no traffic whatsoever. So he's continuing, getting over to the right lanes, over to the number 3 lane right now, which indicating it may be able to get off, which is seen him do several times during this pursuit, jumping on the surface streets back onto the freeways several times during the entirety of this, well, not really a pursuit, or the earlier pursuit, but now this tracking.
Okay, yeah, making some moves here now. Maybe he will get off, JT. Going on, getting into the right-hand lanes.
Ooh, speed.
Yeah, going.
Speed's definitely
fast.
picking up. JT, are you seeing any sign of law enforcement either behind him or setting up ahead of him in terms of trying to block off-ramps or on-ramps or doing traffic control in anticipation of his arrival? Anything like that?
No, nothing like that at all. He's getting off at, I believe this is Prairie here. We'll have to double-check this. Or maybe Hawthorne Boulevard. None of that, Mark. No law enforcement that we've seen at all as he's exiting Hawthorne. We'll see if he goes northbound. It's going to be difficult for us to follow. But if he continues, we're going to widen out. Just make sure we don't lose him here. But if he continues westbound, we should be okay. This looks like a transition road or an off-ramp that may get back onto the freeway. This may be Hawthorne Boulevard he's coming off of, but we'll pull out just a little bit to see what he's going to be doing here. Speed's still 70 miles per hour on the transition road or the off-ramp, but yeah, there's the bottom of the off-ramp there, and that is Hawthorne Boulevard. We'll see which direction he goes, either north or south, or continues to. It looks like he's setting up for southbound Hawthorne.
Pedestrians right there in front of him, so hopefully he's stopping for them. So this is good. I mean, he's stopping for the red light. He's not threatening these pedestrians at this point. He's sitting there, and he has calmed down quite a bit. So hopefully this continues, and we'll see if law enforcement makes a move to try to take him into custody for his prior acts this evening and the things that he has been involved with. We don't know what sorts of things may have prompted the erratic driving to begin with. We don't know what police would essentially be dealing with in this individual. So they have to. They're going to have to at least investigate once they get a hold of him, assuming they do.
That's so often the case, Mark, that they see these vehicles driving recklessly, and by the time they catch up to them, it may be an unreported stolen, it may be used in the commission of a crime, all these things that could be, the vehicle could be won for, but they just didn't get there yet before the pursuit was canceled. So it's uncertain if that is the case with this, but more than likely it often leads to that during these investigations. As we go southbound on Hawthorne, it looks like he's making that U-turn back northbound on Hawthorne. We'll see if he jumps back on that eastbound 105.
All right, well, that was a short foray into, I guess that's Hawthorne, or perhaps the Lenox area of the county. It's interesting how many areas that are patrolled by LA County sheriffs that he has gotten off the freeway and been in. It's just a coincidence, I suppose, but he's passed through all these different jurisdictions. I believe Lenox area is the Sheriff's Department's area. And here's video from before where the guy lost control just about, didn't make that turn. And you saw that balloon being waved out the window. That was some pretty strange behavior. And what we're seeing on that's videotape, obviously, on the right side of your screen. And on the left is Air 7's live picture where this person is at 11th and Hawthorne Boulevard, I believe, and continuing, I believe now he is going northbound, right, on Hawthorne Boulevard. Is that right, JT?
Yeah. Yep, he is going northbound, and coming up on the 105 here. In fact, he may be north of the 105 already. So he's going into Lenox's area. We can kind of parallel him as we come on the 105, but we can't go any further north because, again, that's going to lead right into the final approach path of LAX here, as he's continuing northbound on Hawthorne at 106. We can try to watch him from here, see if he doubles back, but that's going to be it for us. We can maybe go over the top of LAX, moving back to the west, but I don't think we'll be able to see him from there as he continues northbound into the Inglewood area on Hawthorne Boulevard, Mark and Michelle. So we can't follow him any further, but we'll try to watch him as long as we can.
Okay, well, thankfully he is now stopping for red lights. He seems to be slowing down, and hopefully that will continue on. And then when he eventually comes to a stop and gets out of the car, oh, interesting, there was a police car that just went right past him. He must think right now he's in the clear. I mean, there are no patrol cars behind him. There's no evidence of a helicopter above because your light's not on him. So he probably thinks he's in the clear, right, JT?
Well, I don't know about that. I think that he knows that we're all watching him because he's probably got a cell phone. He's probably got a bunch of buddies watching us watch him. So that we've seen that quite a bit with some of the tactics that the suspects have been using. That they know they got a lot of eyes on him right now. But this is the case right now. He's going to continue up Hawthorne. We'll see. We'll see if Inglewood PD may pick him up. That's very possible. Inglewood's pursuit policy may be a little different as he's continuing northbound on. Northbound coming up on 98th Street.
Yeah, he's on. It looks like he's on La Brea now.
Well, yeah, it looks like it may have turned into La Brea here. Yeah, we'll see. What he coming up on Tamarack? Yeah, Hawthorne, Inglewood may pick him up here. That they have no problems chasing people here, so their pursuit policy a little bit different than everybody else's. We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. He committed his offenses in another jurisdiction. Right now, he's following the rules of traffic as far as being in Inglewood, but that certainly wouldn't necessarily deter a different jurisdiction from engaging in the pursuit. And now he turned left there on, I believe that would be Hillcrest.
I know.
And from La Brea. And so what we're seeing now is that this guy looks like the law enforcement folks are content to let him go on his way. And if it's not a stolen car, they've got the license plate. If it's registered to the driver, they know exactly where to find him. So maybe that is a tactic that they have chosen to employ here. Again, this is Inglewood, and you're looking at the taillights of this reckless driving suspect as he is driving off into the night, unpursued on the ground and in the air by law enforcement at this point, after having run quite a few red lights, after having done some pretty erratic moves and put some people in danger. They elected to not inflame things further and continue the pursuit. What we're seeing now is he is behaving as I guess he should, as best we can tell, stopping for that red light at least. Pretty low bar in terms of what's expected, but he's adhering to that. No law enforcement vehicles that we can see that are anywhere close to him. So it looks like he's, for all intents and purposes, getting away.
Yeah. It's interesting, that grand jury report that came out a couple months ago about police pursuits in LA County, and it pointed out the extreme danger that they pose, and it does seem that report has really had an impact, because this certainly isn't the first pursuit we've seen now where authorities have elected to just terminate the pursuit and try to follow up with the individual at a later time. And so maybe that is a direct result of that grand jury report. At any rate, this is pretty much coming to an end from our standpoint, because we are not able to cover it any further because of the airspace with LAX.
All right, Air 7's going to try to pick